Alright guys, so in this video, I know you guys have been waiting for so long for me to finally update the toppings guide for every single one of the cookies. And in this video, I'm actually going to be going over from all the way from ancient all the way to common and suggest you guys and give my recommendation for each of the cookies, toppings, and some of the substance that you should be looking at. Of course, you guys don't need to follow exactly what I say. This is just my recommendation. And in this video, because there are 67 different cookies, I am going to be going really quickly. And if you guys do want to check out individual cookies, then make sure to either check out some of my videos that I have regarding these cookies or any other team composition videos where I do share specific substats as well as specific percentage. But let's start with pure vanilla here, guys. Pure vanilla is going to be using a couple different sets that you can go with. You can go with 5 solid almond, you can go with 5 swift chocolate, you can go with a mixture like this one, 3 swift chocolate, 2 solid almond, or even 3 solid almond, 2 swift chocolate. I do not recommend you guys go with the searing raspberry because I believe that damage resist as well as cooldown is going to be more important for pure vanilla cookie. I would say the two subsets that you basically should be focusing on is going to be damage resist and cooldown for pure vanilla cookie. Moving on is going to be Hollowberry Cookie. Hollowberry Cookie is going to be using 5 solid almond, and there is no exception. There are certain teams that will use 5 searing raspberry, but for 99% of the players, I say that they are going to be using 5 solid almond. The substats that you want to be focusing on for Hollowberry Cookie is going to be damage resist as well as crit resist and a little bit of cooldown, and some other stats like defense and HP are going to help as well. Next one is going to be Seafarer Cookie. Seafarer Cookie is going to be using a couple different sets as well. 5 searing raspberry is one of the sets. You can go with 3 searing raspberry, 2 swift chocolate, or even 4 searing raspberry and 1 swift chocolate. The subsets that you want to be focusing on for Seafarer Cookie is going to be damage resist as well as cooldown, and also for any of the extra damage you can go with attack speed, attack, as well as crit percentage. Next one is going to be Frost Queen. I would say Frost Queen has actually different sets as well. 5 swift chocolate or 5 searing raspberry, or even 3 searing raspberry, 2 swift chocolate. Depending on what you're looking for and what kind of cooldown you're looking for, you can go with certain builds. But for me personally, I say 5 swift chocolate is the best. And the subsets that you guys want to be focusing on for Frost Queen is going to be damage resist as well as cooldown. Next one is going to be Sorbet Shark Cookie. Sorbet Shark Cookie is going to have 5 searing raspberry. I say there are certain teams like the one that I've shared where you do want to use sorbet as the main tank. Then you do have a chance of using something like 5 swift chocolate or even 5 solid almond for that exact team. But I would say the main build is going to be 5 searing raspberry for majority of the players, and you do want to focus on cooldown as well as damage resist. And also, if you're focusing on guild boss battle, then you want to focus on attack as well as crit percentage. Next one is going to be Squidding Cookie. Squidding Cookie is going to be using 5 searing raspberry. I don't have 5 searing raspberry on Squidding right now, but you do want to focus on attack as well as crit percentage if you do want to maximize on the damage, as well as some damage resist and cooldown will help Squidding as well. Next one is going to be Vampire. Vampire is strictly for using against someone like a boss or a guild boss battle, and so for those kind of build, you do want to focus on 5 searing raspberry, and the subsets that you want to focus on are going to be attack as well as crit percentage, because you just want Vampire to deal as much damage as possible during that one skill. Next one is going to be Black Raisin Cookie. Black Raisin Cookie is amazing for any AoE damage, as well as some of the one-shot comp or the cheese comp that still is being used with Tiger Lily Almond as well as Gingerbread. If you are using it for that team or any of the World Exploration team, you want to be using 5 searing raspberry. There is no other build that I would recommend for Black Raisin, but you do want to focus on attack, damage resist, as well as crit percentage, because Black Raisin is going to be attacking several different times using her skill. Next one is going to be Twizzy Gummy Cookie. Twizzy Gummy is going to have a bit of a different set as well. You can go with 5 Juicy Apple Jelly, focusing on maximum crit percentage, or you can go with the build like this one, 3 Juicy Apple Jelly, 2 searing raspberry, or even 3 searing raspberry as well as 2 Juicy Apple Jelly. So the subsets that you want to be focusing on for Twizzy Gummy Cookie is going to be cooldown as well as attack, and mainly going to be crit percentage in order to maximize the 350% of the extra damage that you are able to do when she is going to crit using her ability. Next one is going to be Latte Cookie. Latte Cookie is going to have two different builds, I would say, and that is going to be using full Swift Chocolate or full Searing Raspberry. If you do want to focus on attack as well as dealing the maximum damage as possible, is going to be 5 Searing Raspberry. If you want to use her more of a utility and want to use her inside of the arena, then I do recommend you guys go with 5 Swift Chocolate in order to have a faster cooldown and use her silence as well as immobility. And if the substats that you want to focus on Latte Cookie are going to be damage resist as well as cooldown and some attack and crit percentage. Next one is going to be Snow Sugar Cookie. Snow Sugar Cookie has been buffed and is greatly used inside of the Summoner comp. And inside of the Summoner comp, you are going to be using 3 Searing Raspberry as well as 2 Solid Almond. And the reason is because Snow Sugar Cookie is going to be mainly focusing on as a tank of that team, being in the front, and that's the reason why you want to have extra damage so that Snow King is able to do damage, but also have some Solid Almond and some damage resist so that Snow Sugar Cookie does not die right away. So you want to be focusing on damage resist as well as attack for Snow Sugar Cookie. Next one is going to be Eclair Cookie. Eclair Cookie has different builds as well. I would say 5 Swift Chocolate is something standard and what I am currently using right now, and some people do use 5 Searing Raspberry as well as someone like 3 Solid Almond as well as 2 Swift Chocolate. So it depends on what you're looking for. If you do want to have an Eclair Cookie who is able to survive longer, then I would recommend that you do put in some Solid Almonds so that you guys are able to gain extra damage resist. But if you do want to focus on pure damage, then go with full Searing Raspberry. If you want extra cooldown and cast the debuff as many times as possible as well as deal an enormous amount of damage, then you go with full Swift Chocolate. The subsets that you want to be focusing on are going to be damage resist as well as cooldown, and some extra attack is going to help. Next one is going to be Pumpkin Pie. Pumpkin Pie is going to have strictly, I would say, 5 Solid Almond, and the reason why is because she is going to be a magic cookie. She does not have a lot of HP as well as defense. That is the reason why you want to have 5 Solid Almond in order for her to stay alive and constantly summon Pompon and cast her spell in order for Pompon to come out and kind of do that slam and deal extra damage to the enemies. And that is going to be the reason why you want to be having 5 Solid Almond. If you want to have extra damage, then you can go with something like 3 Searing Raspberry, 2 Solid Almond, but majority of the players are going to be using 5 Solid Almond. The subsets that you want to be looking for Pumpkin Pie is going to be damage resist as well as cooldown, and some extra attack and attack speed are going to help. Next one is going to be Pastry Cookie. Pastry Cookie is going to be using 5 Searing Raspberry as well, but sometimes inside of the speed comp when it was viable, and it is still a little bit viable, but I would say Pastry Cookie is not going to be part of it anymore. But if you do want to use Pastry Cookie, then I would say 5 Searing Raspberry, or you can go with 3 Searing Raspberry, 2 Solid Almond. The subsets that you want to be looking for Pastry Cookie is going to be attack as well as damage resist and a little bit of attack speed and crit percentage as well. Next one is going to be Licorice Cookie. Licorice Cookie is going to be using 5 Swift Chocolate, and that is going to be it, guys. There's nothing else that you want to be using. Currently I don't have 5 Swift Chocolate because I took it out because I'm not really using Licorice Cookie anymore for the guild boss battle. But for any of the guild boss battle and any of the story mode, I would suggest that you guys go with 5 Swift Chocolate so you guys have the minions summoned and in the front tanking for your team as many times as possible. And also, if you do want to use Licorice Cookie for guild boss battle, then I highly recommend that you have some sort of damage resist as well. So the subsets that you want to be focusing on for Licorice Cookie is going to be cooldown as well as damage resist. You can have some extra defense as well as attack if you do want to have some extra damage as well as buff up your minions for some extra tanking. Next one is going to be Tiger Lily. Tiger Lily has different builds as well, but you can go with something like a mixture of 3 Solid Almond, 1 Swift Chocolate, as well as 1 Bouncing Caramel, or you can go with some build like this. But the main focus of Tiger Lily, if you do want to use it for cheese comp, is going to be having 10.6% cooldown, I believe, in order for Tiger Lily to actually cast her spell before Almond. So you do want to focus on that. So the substats that you want to be focusing on for Tiger Lily are going to be damage resist, cooldown, as well as attack speed, so that when she is on her tiger, she is able to push the enemies together and also group them up. Next one is going to be Rye Cookie. Rye Cookie is going to have one build, and that is going to be 5 Searing Raspberry. The subsets that you want to be focusing on for Rye Cookie is going to be mainly damage resist as well as cooldown, and also some attack and crit percentage are going to help. attack speed is going to work as well. Next one is going to be Poison Mushroom Cookie. Poison Mushroom Cookie has been used greatly for the guild boss battle, but because of the introduction of Eclair, Poison Mushroom Cookie is not being used as much anymore. But if you do want to use Poison Mushroom still for the guild boss battle, then I highly recommend that you go with 5 Searing Raspberry and focusing on damage resist, cooldown, as well as attack, and a little bit of crit is going to work as well. Next one is going to be Raspberry Cookie. Raspberry Cookie has different builds as well, but you can go with 5 Searing Raspberry used in a triple or a double tank comp, or you can go with a mixture of something like 3 Searing Raspberry, 2 Solid Almond, or even a build where you use 3 Solid Almond, 2 Searing Raspberry. But you do want to be using a Raspberry Cookie for mainly a double tank comp, if not a triple tank, because she is not going to work too much as a main tank, because she is going to be dashing away and causing, you know, her skill to the enemies. So I would recommend that you guys do focus on some damage, because she is able to deal a ton of damage if you are able to use her correctly. So the subsets that you will be looking for Raspberry Cookie is going to be damage resist, as well as some cooldown and extra attack and crit percentage. Next one is going to be Mala Sauce Cookie. Mala Sauce Cookie has actually different builds as well. You can go with the 5 Solid Almond build if you do want to use Mala Sauce as your only tank, focusing on damage resist as well as cooldown. But if you do want to use Mala Sauce inside of a crit team for the arena, then you go with 5 Swift Chocolate, having damage resist as well as cooldown to cast her spell and constantly give that crit percentage buff to your 2 of the highest crit cookies. So if you do want to use Mala Sauce, the subsets that you want to be focusing on are going to be damage resist as well as cooldown, and some attack as well as HP and defense are going to work as well. Next one is going to be Creme Puff, the newly buffed cookie that has absolutely received a massive buff, and the kind of build that I would recommend you guys go with is going to be something like this: 3 Juicy Apple Jelly, focusing on some crit as well as damage resist, and also some cooldown using Swift Chocolate as well. And if you do want to go with the 5 Juicy Apple Jelly, you can do that as well, but you want to have some cooldown so that she is able to cast her spell. So the subsets that you want to be mainly focusing on are going to be damage resist, crit percentage, as well as cooldown, and some attack on the side will work as well. Next one is going to be Parfait Cookie. Parfait Cookie has different builds as well, but I would say mainly right now inside of the arena and also for the world exploration, 5 Swift Chocolate is going to work if you have good substats for your damage resist. But if you do not have it, then you could go with 5 Solid Almond as well as something like 3 Swift Chocolate, 2 Solid Almond, or even 3 Solid Almond and 2 Swift Chocolate. The main subsets that you want to be using for Parfait Cookie are going to be damage resist as well as cooldown, and some debuff resist will help her get out of debuffs a lot faster to cast her skills first. Next one is going to be Dark Choco Cookie. Dark Choco Cookie has different builds as well, but for mainly the guild boss battle, if you are using Dark Choco Cookie, then you could go with 5 Searing Raspberry, or something like this: 3 Searing Raspberry, 2 Swift Chocolate, in order to make the cooldown the correct percentage for you guys to actually use inside of the guild boss battle. But if you guys are using Dark Choco Cookie as your only tank inside of the world exploration, then I do suggest that you guys go with 5 Solid Almond so that he is able to tank for your team and maximize the damage resist. If you are using Dark Choco Cookie for the arena and as a double tank comp where he is being used next to someone like Strawberry Crepe or Hollowberry, then you can go with 5 Searing Raspberry, focusing on damage resist as well as attack. So the main subsets that I would say for Dark Choco is going to depend, but it's going to be mainly damage resist, attack, as well as cooldown. Next one is going to be Coco Cookie. Coco Cookie is going to be using a 5 Swift Chocolate build, mainly focusing on damage resist as well as cooldown, in order to cast your spell and cause the stun immunity to be given to every single one of your teammates. And if you guys do not have a good damage resist subsets on your Swift Chocolate toppings, then I would say for many of the beginner players that to put on Solid Almond so that she is able to correctly function as a tank inside of your team. So I would say the main subsets that you want to be looking for Coco Cookie is going to be damage resist as well as cooldown, extra attack, defense, as well as HP are going to help as well. Next one is going to be Kumo Cookie. Kumo Cookie did receive a buff as well and is being used inside of the arena for the new Kumo one-shot comp. If you guys are using Kumo Cookie for that, then I would highly suggest that you guys go with something like a 4 Swift Chocolate, 1 Solid Almond, or even 5 Swift Chocolate as well. The main focus of that team is going to be having 16.7% cooldown at least, because Kumo Cookie needs to have that in order to have a 3-second start. But the subsets that you want to be focusing on for Kumo Cookie are going to be damage resist, cooldown, as well as attack speed and attack, in order for her to finish off the enemies if you're not able to one-shot them inside of the arena. Next one is being Cotton Cookie. Cotton Cookie is an amazing support and is going to be dealing a ton of damage for you as well as heal your team for a great amount of HP. If you want to use Cotton Cookie, I do recommend that you guys go with either a 5 Swift Chocolate build so that you guys maximize on the cooldown, or you guys can go with a 5 Solid Almond build focusing on damage resist. But I do have a very mixed build right now: 2 Solid Almond, 2 Swift Chocolate, 1 Searing Raspberry, and that is going to be because I just want to focus on extra damage as well as cooldown and also the damage resist. So I do have a good amount of subsets on each of these toppings, but for beginners as well as some of the intermediate players who are still kind of getting into that flow of topping grinding and topping substats, then I suggest that you guys go with either a 5 Swift Chocolate, 5 Solid Almond, or even a mixture of 3 Swift Chocolate, 2 Solid Almond, in order for you guys to maximize on the damage resist as well as cooldown for Cotton Cookie. So the subsets that you want to be focusing on for Cotton Cookie are going to be damage resist as well as cooldown, and also extra attack is going to help increasing her damage as well as healing. Next one is going to be Madeline Cookie. Madeline Cookie is going to have 2 different builds in my opinion, and that's going to be 5 Searing Raspberry or even 3 Searing Raspberry, 2 Solid Almond. I don't recommend you guys go with the 5 Solid Almond inside of the arena, only if you are going to be using Madeline Cookie for the world exploration. That is when you will go with 5 Solid Almond as your main tank, but I wouldn't recommend that using Madeline Cookie as your only tank in the world exploration. There's just so much better cookies out there. But if you are using Madeline Cookie as your only tank for the late game, then you do need to have Solid Almond in order for him to tank for your team. But if you do want to use him for this speed comp, then I would say 3 Searing Raspberry, 2 Solid Almond is going to work, or 5 Searing Raspberry is going to work. The subsets that you want to focus on for Madeline Cookie are going to be damage resist as well as attack and attack speed, in order for Madeline Cookie to deal much damage as possible as well as tank for your team. Alright guys, next one is going to be Strawberry Crate Cookie. Strawberry Crate Cookie has different builds as well. I would say for the beginner players as well as any other players that do not have a good substats, then I suggest that you guys go with 5 Solid Almond to maximize the damage resist that Strawberry Crate Cookie is able to have. But if you guys are a more advanced player and you guys are able to have a good amount of damage resist as well as cooldown, then go with the 5 Swift Chocolate build, which is going to be standard for majority of the master players inside of the arena, and you want to have at least 17.3% cooldown in order for Strawberry Crate to have a 3-second start, and that is going to be with a 5 Swift Chocolate set bonus having 22.3%. And the subsets that you want to be focusing on for Strawberry Crate Cookie is going to be damage resist as well as cooldown, extra defense, HP, as well as crit resist is going to help for Strawberry Crate. Next one is going to be Lilac Cookie. Lilac Cookie has 2 different builds, or actually maybe even 3, and that is going to be either 5 Solid Almond in order for Lilac Cookie to survive inside of the arena so that he is able to cast his spell and give the buff to his teammates, or you can go with the 3 Searing Raspberry, 2 Solid Almond build so that he can be considered as a semi DPS, or even 5 Searing Raspberry where he is pretty much doing the DPS role for your team. So the subsets that you want to be focusing on for Lilac Cookie is going to be damage resist as well as attack speed, as well as crit percentage. Next one is going to be Moon Rabbit Cookie. Moon Rabbit Cookie is going to be using 3 different builds in my opinion, and that is going to be using either Swift Chocolate, Searing Raspberry, or Solid Almond. It is all going to depend on the team that you are going to be using, but the 2 main builds are going to be either 5 Swift Chocolate or 5 Solid Almond. Just like how I said for Coco as well as Strawberry Crate, if you guys are using Moon Rabbit Cookie as your only tank, then I highly suggest that you guys use Solid Almond if you are not able to have good damage resist subsets on your Swift Chocolate. But for the majority of the high ranking players, they're going to be using 5 Swift Chocolate with damage resist substats, and I would say the standard is going to be around 20 to 25%, and that is going to be for Moon Rabbit Cookie. And the subsets that you want to be focusing on for Moon Rabbit Cookie is going to be damage resist, cooldown, as well as attack to maximize some of the damage as well as heal that she is able to do. Next one is going to be Sparkling Cookie. I would say Sparkling Cookie is going to have two different builds, and that is going to be either using 5 Swift Chocolate, or you just go with the semi, which is going to be 3 Swift Chocolate and 2 Solid Almond. You do want to use his skill constantly to have the crit percentage up for any of your crit team, as well as you do want to have some damage resist so that Sparkling Cookie is able to stay alive and heal 2 of your cookies, as well as give that crit percentage. So if you do want to use Sparkling Cookie and you are looking for substats, it is going to be damage resist as well as cooldown for Sparkling Cookie. Next one is going to be Almond Cookie. Almond Cookie has 3 different builds, and all depends on the exact team that you are mainly looking for. But for the one-shot comps that majority of the players are using, it is going to be 5 Solid Almond, and you just want Almond Cookie to survive and cast a spell as many times as possible, linked with the actual cookie skill inside of your team. But if you are using Almond Cookie for guild boss battle that I've shared, then you're going to be using 5 Searing Raspberry. And also there has been a build with Raisin or any of the other comps inside of the arena, and some people do use 5 Swift Chocolate in order to maximize the cooldown of Almond Cookie as well. So the subsets that you want to be focusing on for Almond Cookie is going to be, depending on the build, is going to be mainly damage resist as well as attack, and sometimes cooldown if it matters for your team. Alright guys, next one is going to be Mint Choco Cookie. Mint Choco Cookie is going to have different builds as well, but the main one is going to be 1 full solid almond, 2 you can go with either 3 Swift Chocolate as well as 2 Solid Almond. Very similar to how you guys did with Sparkling Cookie. And the reason why is because you want to have Mint Choco Cookie alive and cast a spell to give that attack speed buff for your team in order for the speed comp to actually work out. So the subsets that you want to focusing on for Mint Choco Cookie is going to be damage resist as well as some cooldown as well as some debuff resist, so that he is able to come out of the stun or any of the debuffs a lot faster than the others. Next one is going to be Herb Cookie. Herb Cookie has been used a little bit inside of the arena because of Eclair Cookie, and you want to be purifying and cleansing the weakness debuff that Eclair Cookie is able to cast on your team. But if you do want to use Herb Cookie inside of your team, then I would say you can go with the couple different builds. I would say 5 Searing Raspberry is going to work if you want to maximize the heal that Herb Cookie is able to do. But majority of the players inside of the arena as well as the late game are going to be using something like 3 Swift Chocolate as well as 2 Solid Almond in order to maximize the damage resist as well as cooldown to cast Herb Cookie's skill a lot faster. The subsets that you want to be focusing on for Herb Cookie are going to be damage resist as well as cooldown, and some debuff resist is going to help as well. Next one is going to be Fig Cookie, not being used a lot inside of the arena or any of the game modes, but if you do want to use Fig Cookie for any of the game modes inside of the game, then you guys can actually use either 5 Swift Chocolate or 5 Searing Raspberry or even 5 Solid Almond, or a mixture of them depending on what you guys are looking for. The subsets that you want to be looking for Fig Cookie are going to be damage resist as well as cooldown, and some extra attack if you want to use Fig Cookie for the attack, which I do not recommend. Next one is going to be Werewolf Cookie. Werewolf Cookie is going to be not a great option for your team, especially as a tank, but if you do want to use Werewolf Cookie inside of your team, then I would suggest you either going with a 3 Searing Raspberry, 2 Solid Almond build so that he is a semi-tank DPS, or you guys can go with a 5 Solid Almond for a full tank build, or even go with the 5 Searing Raspberry in order to have a full DPS build. But I do not recommend you guys use Werewolf Cookie. But if you guys want to have a good subset, then the subsets that you want to look for is going to be damage resist as well as attack and attack speed, as well as HP and defense are going to help as well. Alright guys, next cookie is going to be Milk Cookie. Milk Cookie is going to have 2 different builds, and that is going to be either a full Solid Almond build or a full Swift Chocolate build. Majority of the players inside of the higher ranking, when they did use Milk Cookie, it was 5 Swift Chocolate build in order to maximize the time that he is able to cast a taunt and also gain a 50% damage resist buff for his actual taunt. So if you guys do want to use Milk Cookie inside of the arena for the upper rank, then I suggest that you guys go with the 5 Swift Chocolate, having a decent amount of damage resist. But if you are not able to have that and you want to use Milk Cookie as your only tank inside of the world exploration, then I suggest that you guys go with a 5 Solid Almond so that he is able to maximize the tanking ability that he has for your team. So the subsets that you want to be looking for Milk Cookie are going to be damage resist as well as cooldown, and also HP defense and crit resist are going to help for Milk Cookie. Next one is going to be Mango Cookie. Mango Cookie has different builds as well. You can go with a full searing raspberry build or a full swift chocolate build depending on what you want to go for and what you are focusing on. He does have that 10% attack buff if you guys do want to utilize him for that, as well as a 3-wave hit where you do kind of knock up and knock back the enemies. So the subsets that you want to be looking for Mango Cookie are going to be damage resist, cooldown, as well as attack and crit percentage are going to help for Mango Cookie. Next one is going to be Red Velvet Cookie. Red Velvet Cookie has different builds as well. If you do want to use Red Velvet as your only tank in the side of the World Exploration, then I suggest that you guys go with the 5 solid almond build. But if you have a good substats, then you can actually go with the 5 swift chocolate build, because Red Velvet has a massive 20-second cooldown on his skill. So if you want to be able to use his skill more often, then 5 swift chocolate with the good damage resist subset are going to work. But if you want to focus on a one-shot build, then you guys can actually use a full searing raspberry build as well. But the main subsets that you want to look for Red Velvet Cookie are going to be damage resist as well as cooldown, as well as HP defense, crit resist, as well as attack are going to help as well. Alright guys, next one is going to be Pomegranate Cookie. Pomegranate Cookie was used inside of the guild boss battle before all of the other supports as well as cookies have been released. And for Pomegranate, I would say the main subsets that you want to look for are going to be cooldown as well as damage resist. Of course, you do have that attack percentage, alright, buff, 20% attack buff for all of your cookies, but I would say that that is not going to be worth you sacrificing some extra, HP as well as healing, or even some extra debuff like Eclair Cookie is able to cast for Pomegranate skill. But if you do want to use Pomegranate, I would say go with a mixture of 3 swift chocolate as well as 2 solid almond, or even going with a 5 swift chocolate or 5 solid almond builds are going to work as well. The main subsets that you want to look for Pomegranate Cookie are going to be damage resist as well as cooldown, and some debuff resist are going to help as well. Next one is going to be Chili Pepper Cookie. Chili Pepper Cookie is going to be used as your DPS cookie if you do not have any of the higher rank DPS cookies. If you do want to use Chili Pepper, I suggest that you guys go with the 5 searing raspberry build to maximize the damage that she is able to do. The subsets that you want to focus on for Chili Pepper Cookie are going to be damage resist as well as cooldown, and some extra attack and crit percentage. The main subsets that you want to focusing on for Espresso Cookie are going to be damage resist as well as attack, crit percentage, as well as a little bit of cooldown will help as well. Next one is going to be Purple Yam Cookie. Purple Yam Cookie is going to be having a different builds, and I'm going to say, and for the players who do want to use Purple Yam Cookie as the only tank, then I suggest that you guys go with the 5 solid almond build. But if you have good subsets on your swift chocolate, then you guys can actually go with the 5 swift chocolate build, focusing on damage resist as well as cooldown, so that you are able to cast this very low 12-second cooldown skill many times as possible, knocking back enemy and spinning and dealing damage. The main subsets that you want to focusing on for Purple Yam Cookie are going to be damage resist as well as cooldown, and also HP defense and crit resist are going to help as well. Next one is going to be Tea Night Cookie. Tea Night Cookie is going to be very special, and I would say the only real build that you want to go with for Tea Night Cookie is going to be 5 solid almond. And the reason why is because you want Tea Night Cookie to be the last cookie to be surviving in order to have his Wrath of Commander buff up every single time. So you want to have him survive and deal extra damage later on. So you want to be focusing on damage resist, and that is the reason why you want to go with 5 solid almond build. So if you do have Tea Night Cookie, then the subsets that you want to focus on are going to be damage resist as well as crit resist, HP defense, attack, as well as attack speed if you do want to use him for your clutch team that some people are using currently inside of the arena. Alright guys, so we do have the 2 special cookie, and those are going to be Sonic Cookie as well as Tail Cookie. I would say for Sonic Cookie, if you do want to use Sonic Cookie inside of a speed comp, then I would say go with the 5 searing raspberry or even 3 searing raspberry 2 solid almond build. You just want Sonic Cookie to deal as many damage as possible, but I would suggest that you guys do stay away from Sonic Cookie and investing in him, because he is just not going to be a very good cookie for you guys and your team. He is going to come into the front because he needs to be in the front to kind of kick the enemy, and in the process he is actually going to be taking a lot of damage and dying in the beginning as well. Next one is going to be Tails Cookie. Tails Cookie is going to be using 5 Swift Chocolate in my opinion, because you do want to give that defense buff to all of your teammates as many times as possible. And the subsets that you want to focus on for Sonic Cookie as well as Tails Cookie are going to be damage resist as well as cooldown, and also some attack is going to help as well. Alright guys, so that is going to be actually the part 1 of this video and some topping guide. I went over every single one of the epics as well as ancients and legendary as well as special cookies that we have currently on in the game. And if you do want to use any of the rares as well as the commons, then I will have a separate part 2 video of this series so that you guys are aware of what you can use for each of these cookies that are not really used inside of the game, because we have a bunch of epics, right? But if you guys are into any of these cookies, for example, if you guys just want to try that rare only challenge that Codation and I are kind of doing, I know I did stop a little bit, as well as you want to focusing on Gingerbread as well as some of the other cookies that are inside of the comment, then I'll be making a separate part 2 video of this, because this video is already over probably 30 minutes by now. I've been talking for non-stop to kind of go over almost probably 40 cookies that we have going on with the ancient, legendary as well as epics and special. So anyways guys, that's gonna be it for this video, for this part 1 of the updated toppings guys February 2022, including Eclair Cookie as well as Tea Night Cookie. If you guys did find the video helpful, don't forget to hit the subscribe button as well as the like button, and don't forget to hit that notification bell so that you guys don't miss out on any future Cookie Kingdom videos as well as live streams that I do on YouTube. Anyways guys, thanks for watching once again, and I'll see you guys all next time.